colluding with foreign forces, losing everything. Since Hong Kong's return to the motherland in 1997, Next Digital founder Jimmy Lai used his influence and mobilized his media machine to stir conflict between the Chinese mainland and Hong Kong. He joined the illegal Occupy Central movement in 2014, narrowly escaping prosecution at the time. But can anyone truly escape accountability forever? Eventually, Lai found himself behind bars for his role in the violent unrest of 2019. On February 9, 2026, Jimmy Lai's case involving violations of the national security law reached sentencing. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, expected to spend the rest of his life behind bars. This final episode of Jimmy Lai's Half a Lifetime of Transgressions, jointly produced by HKGPao and Silent Majority for Hong Kong, revisit the trajectory of the 2019 riot and examines the three major crimes committed by Jimmy Lai during that turbulent period. First, came his relentless participation in unlawful marches and assemblies. Just as during Occupy Central, Lai appeared again and again, whether or not the rallies had police approval, sometimes to show off, sometimes to lead from the front, amplifying the violence as if chaos itself could be commanded. His aim? To rally opposition against both the Hong Kong government and the central government. He didn't want the momentum to fade quickly, as it did after Occupy Central. His blatant defiance of the law soon bound him in legal chains. He was involved in unlawful assemblies on August 18, August 31st, October 1st of 2019, and June 4th of 2020. 4 cases in all, resulting in a 20-month sentence. It was the beginning of his life behind bars. Although he, along with Democratic Party founder Martin Lee, appealed against the convictions, only the charge of organizing an unauthorized assembly was overturned. In the end, the conviction for participation stood firm. The second crime, abuse of media power to incite hatred against the government. Apple Daily once claimed to represent freedom of the press, yet during the illegal Occupy Central movement, it had become a propaganda tool. As mentioned in earlier episodes, former Next Digital CEO Cheung Kim-hong testified in court that Lai actively participated in editorial decisions, calling him the true helmsman of Apple Daily. By the time of the 2019 riot, that stance had hardened into radical activism. During opening statements, prosecutors listed Apple Daily's offenses, from the outbreak of unrest to the closure of the paper on June 24, 2021, publishing a staggering 161 seditious articles. Among them was one incident in March 2019, while tensions brewed, when former Chief Secretary for Administration Anson Chan met then U.S. Vice President Mike Pence. Lai called it big news and instructed Cheung Kim-hong to maximize the impact. In June of that same year, he told then associate publisher Chen Pui-men that the government's suspension of the extradition bill was merely a tactic and that protests should continue. Come October, Lai traveled to the U.S. to meet then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and afterward ordered Chen Pui-men to interview him. Later still, Lai decided that a portion of Apple Daily's online subscription income would be donated, 1/3 of it, to the Civil Human Rights Front to support protesters. He even published Freedom Summer, later printed in English, as cover claiming that all proceeds of the cause would be donated to the 612 Humanitarian Relief Fund. At that point, Apple Daily wasn't just promoting politics, it was funding them. From both journalistic and legal perspectives, Apple Daily had overstepped every boundary, becoming Jimmy Lai's personal political tool. And the third crime? Direct solicitation of foreign forces, calling for sanctions. Beyond the manipulations of his newspaper, Lai himself acted as a self-styled diplomat. During the 2019 riot, he met with then U.S. Vice President Mike Pence and then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. In court, he admitted that he had brief pens about Hong Kong, hoping the United States would speak up and support the city. His international connections didn't stop there. They extended to British politicians, former Governor Chris Patten, Lord Alton of the House of Lords, and even Choi Ing-wen of Taiwan District's Democratic Progressive Party. All part of Lai's foreign network. Though he denied in court that he sought foreign powers to topple the government, the effect was clear enough. He bankrolled global advertisements urging sanctions, pleading for foreign pressure against China, earning from prosecutors the title mastermind of the stand with Hong Kong. Then came the national security law. On December 1st, 2020, Lai went on Fox Business, publicly hoping that the incoming Joe Biden administration would make human rights and rule of law a prerequisite in talks with China. That same day, on his own program, Live Chat with Jimmy Lai, he declared that the United States must realize strength, not weakness, is needed to confront the CCP. He emphasized that Western pressure was crucial, claiming China faced a major crisis and that now was the best time to change it. But when the time came for his self-defense in court, that bravado vanished. Lai suddenly called himself a political prisoner, attempting to shift blame, turning criminal charges into questions of politics. Yet the judge rebuked him, insisting the courtroom was no place for political theatrics. I cannot remember. That became Lai's refrain in one day of testimony. His appeals for foreign sanctions were recast as mere statements of fact. He denied ever mentioning sanctions to Mike Pompeo, but confronted with Apple Daily's own reports, he was forced to admit the truth. He even claimed that after the national security law took effect, he no longer discussed sanctions. But would anyone still believe him? Leung Chun-ying, vice chairman of the CPPCC and former chief executive, looked on and remarked, "Playing politics, daring to act but not to admit, where is the arrogance and swagger of the past now?" By January 12, 2026, during the mitigation stage, media outlets reported that Lai and his relatives had submitted no letters of mitigation. It seemed he had already resigned to his fate. Jimmy Lai's Have a Lifetime of Transgressions now draws to a close, chronicling the downfall of the chief member of Hong Kong's Gang of Four, who brought turmoil to the city. The court described Lai as the mastermind. Its 855-page judgment laid bare his crimes, spanning both before and after the national security law took effect. The difference was simple. After the law's introduction, his methods became indirect, his rhetoric restrained, yet still he conspired with foreign powers. The intent never changed. The 2019 riot was not only a political conspiracy to seize power, it dragged Hong Kong's civilized society into a state of chaos. Streets blocked, neighborhoods torn apart, citizens moving in fear, violence flared so easily. A disagreement could end in a beating, even in someone being burned alive. That wave of extremist violence shattered families, leaving loved ones estranged. And with such damage done, could any single imprisonment or newspaper closure ever mend it? A lifetime of crimes cannot be repaid, even with an entire life. May Jimmy Lai's downfall serve not merely as his punishment, but as a warning to all, so that this city, Hong Kong, will never again see another Jimmy Lai 2.0 rise to stir the flames of turmoil.